Welcome to the Rockhound Podcast. This week we have a brand new guest. Go ahead and take it away.
How's it going? My name is Jaymin Sullivan. I'm part of the Young Guns Opal mining crew based out of White Cliffs in Australia. I'm a content creator and I've been part of the Outback Opal Hunters TV show for 6 seasons now.
Welcome and congratulations.
Wow. Yes, congratulations.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. And we're so happy to have you here. And we're happy to have everybody watching right now. Thank you so much for coming. Make sure to drop in the comments where you're tuning in from and what you're up to also. And I'm Karen from Ozone Fine Art Ventures out here on the unbelievably sunny Oregon coast. Kurt?
My name is Kurt with Rock.Hounding.Adventures out here in Western Colorado.
Kyle.
Kyle. I wasn't sure if it was going to be Theo or Kyle.
Theo.
It's Theo.
Oh, is it
And
Theo?
who is Theo anyway?
Well, Theo's always Theo, but this week Theo is Theo, but his channel is Sir Not Appearing in This Film.
There you go.
All right. And then I'm Miles Kyle with World of Rockhounds. Enjoying this lovely Oregon weather. And that does for our introductions. Karen, shout outs.
It's time for me to shout out to all of you guys who sent us your beautiful show and tells for last week. That was amazing. Thank you so much. If you missed out, because I, of course, get a barrage of emails and notes and whatnot, the very next day, I meant to send you something. It's not too late. We're doing number 5. And so send in your stuff to the email in the description and we will put you in the next show and tell. So it's never too late. But thank y'all for those beautiful show and tells. And we had Eric who suggested about some things with the contaminated batch from the Tumblr thing. And so I think that was for Michael Wallahi, who was really appreciative about not only the suggestions, but also by the way that we made his last name sound. But both Eric and Eric and somebody else, I can't remember who it was, suggested Michigan Rocks. Better Designs as a very good channel and video to go check out his very long rock tumbling video if you have a contaminated batch. Whew. All right.
Yeah, Rob is like the master tumbler.
I concur. He's like award-winning, said Beto
Yes.
Designs. Like,
Yeah.
literally
Yes,
an
he is.
award-winning tumbler. So
Yeah.
wow. Patrick, thanks so much for the timestamps again. I'll get to sticking those in the description when time allows. And you're the best for doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Claude, yes, we love you. Claude wants to see Dan Hurd on the show. Standing invite, Dan Hurd. People keep
We're
on
trying.
asking. Bob's Rocks. We look forward to seeing some show and tell from you. He, said it right there in the comments, like, I forgot. And thank you for the sand in advance. Rufotris, Rooted Rockhound.
No.
I know. Hasu, Julie, Mary Beth, Michelle, Dustin, Rock and Roll, Rockhound, Ontario Rockhound, Manistee Rocks, Jackie Kaya, Michael, Tie-Dye and Dawn, and Cliff Walker Rockhounding, all dug it. And thank y'all for hanging out in the chat room with us. You all know who you are. So that is the shout.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's longer every week.
I know. I'm gonna do it as like a, an auctioneer next week.
That would be impressive.
I'll do it under 30 seconds. Okay.
Get a little
Do
a squeaky gavel. Just
Yeah.
So, how was everyone's weeks? We'll start with you, Jamin.
Yeah, my week's been pretty good. I mean, at the moment, I'm actually away from the mine. So I'm over on the Central Coast, which is about an hour outside of Sydney, just enjoying some holiday time by the beach, doing a little bit of opal cutting this week. But other than that, not too bad.
Nice. Is there any rock counting there in the beach where you're at?
So I actually Oh, actually, yeah, it was probably the start of the week. I actually did a quick collab with a friend, Bondi Treasure Hunter. He's more of a magnet fish or a metal detector on YouTube. And we actually went and checked out Egyptian hieroglyphs, which are up in one of the little mountain areas around here. Whether they're real or it's a hoax, it's always being debated. You can look it up online. It's like Gosford hieroglyphs. But yeah, we had a quick look up there, did a bit of metal detecting, found a few crystals around the rocks, whether that was just some, hippies that have left them up there as part of some sort of ceremony or are naturally occurring. It's hard to say. But other than that, I'm not too sure. I do a little bit of metal detecting in and around some of the bridges and stuff, but I've not really done too much rock hounding in the area.
Nice. That's still fun no matter what. I mean,
Oh yeah,
You're right.
totally.
oh,
Always finding something good.
yeah.
Yeah, we found about $5-6, so enough for a beer,
Hey, it's worth it.
A day well spent. Yes.
That's all that
Awesome.
matters.
Exactly.
Karen, what do you got?
Well, I've been working on gems as well, cutting, and when the sun's out, I'm usually outside making orange mud out of ironstone and opal. And I actually I have a spray tan and all that. I got my amber out from Yarrick. And that's another outside activity. I found that the resin that's created from all of the splatter, because I like to work the amber wet, is quite a mess. That's some sticky. It smells so good. How could it be
does.
so intrusive on my furniture? So, anyways, that's been an outdoor thing, but I'm going to do some of the show and tell later off of some finds in the amber. So there's a little teaser for you. And an amber video will be coming out soon as well. And then I also dropped an iris agate little shorty, a little truffle for your eyes. Those are the only Rambos that I can find in Oregon, really. So doing my best. And that's pretty much my week. How about you, Kurt?
Well, I want to say on last weekend we hit 48 degrees for the first time in months, so I broke out the saw.
Heat
And it
wave.
was yeah, I know, right? I broke out the saw and was cutting some Laguna lace agate nodules, and had beautiful banding on the inside. And other than that, I've been working on some new wire wrapping techniques. And I got a new piece of equipment in, which you will get to see later on in the show and tell for that. But yeah, so that's pretty much been my week.
Nice.
Awesome. I can't wait to see what your show and tell is.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I do have a request.
Yeah.
Learn how to rap. Now we can rap while you're rapping.
Yes.
All right, Kyle. There's your one dad joke per podcast.
I know.
Well, then he could be the rap god.
There you go.
I'll be here all week.
Theo?
Oh, me. Sorry.
Yes.
You just enjoying the show.
It's been an awesome week, actually. So on Saturday, I went over to Montana Rock Mom's. Awesome person. Everyone go subscribe to Montana Rock Mom. And she called me in a panic and was like, I don't have a video this week. I need to come raid your rocks. And I was like, okay, that's fine. You can come over and raid my rocks. So we picked out some kind of my more oddball stuff that we had, haven't really worked with too much. Like I grabbed a Sagenite agate. Trying to remember what else we grabbed. She had this really cool agate from New Mexico. But then I also grabbed some labradorite and some of my amber and some amylite, and we looked at all of them underneath a microscope after we cut them. And oh my gosh, some of that stuff is crazy cool once you get like real up close with it. The Sagenite agate specifically was just insane. But the spider, I think, was the coolest part. So there's a video right there. But on top of that, we finally got a heat wave in Montana. So it's been like mid 50s, low 50s the last like 6 days. So I actually went out rock hunting Monday and Tuesday, and I'm very happy because now I'm 3 weeks ahead on videos, so I can actually like
Nice.
get caught up on cleaning the shop, which has been getting neglected. So that's pretty much what I'm up to. One of those hunts will be coming out on Saturday, and then they'll the other ones will be shortly behind it, I think. But yeah, other than that, that is pretty much it. Just
Nice.
got out twice and cut rocks and looked at them under the microscope.
A lot of
Sounds
fun.
like my life.
Yeah, that spider was so cool. Oh my gosh.
I know. Microscopes are so cool.
Yeah.
So are Geiger counters. Geiger counters are cool too.
Oh, oh, we're into tool wars now. Have you seen that claw thing that Jaymin has? I mean, like taking out like whole sides of walls and stuff like that. But yes, Geiger counters are cool.
Yeah, so my week was I helped my friend kind of do some repairs at an apartment, and a previous resident had left a Geiger counter behind. And so I had asked one of the roommates, like, hey, was this yours? Because he had a military background. He's like, no, that's not mine. And I'm like, okay, so dibs, this is now mine.
That's a perk of the job.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where, like, does it still work? So I went and got batteries for it. It works. I had a piece of Trinitite. It didn't really, like, read too much. So I was going through the rock room just kind of, like, just for giggles, like, going over different rocks and fossils. My Megalodon tooth actually gave off more of a reading than the Trinitite did. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting. And then I recently got a gift from Jared, and one of the minerals that he sent, it really kicks off that needle.
Leave it to Jared to send you something radioactive.
Okay, I can't sing the lyrics because I'd probably get copyright strike.
Right? Yeah. Stop right there.
Yeah, stop, Kyle. But so I'm hoping to actually do a video on that Geiger counter here soon. But other than that, just doing small things here and there in the shop. So pretty lazy, and cleaning and organizing, stuff like that. Spring cleaning for spring's here. So that is my week. So now we get into interrogation. Karen?
All right. Actually, I always love to open up with just a totally predictable question about how you got into things. So I know your dad and your granddad are both into the business, and just wondering, a lot of folks don't want to like necessarily do what dad and granddad do, and look at you. So tell us how you fell into this whole thing.
Yeah, so I had no real like interest in actually doing opal mining as a job until I started seeing dad actually, making some serious money. At the time, I was always into treasure hunting, like loved Indiana Jones, wanted to do that, but never really connected, opal mining with proper treasure hunting. But yeah, so I was living back over on the Central Coast where I am right now on holidays, and I was paying, rent, mortgage, working at a local hardware store for about 3 years after I'd finished school. And because there's no school out there because it's a very small town, so I had to finish high school over here. But yeah, so really was just not loving life at the time. Didn't want to keep, in the rat race, 9 to 5, normal job, and just decided to head back out to White Cliffs and spend a couple of months there and figure out like what I wanted to do. Did a little bit of mining, got a little bit lucky, found a couple of really nice stones. And then my two mates came out, JC and Noah. And it just happened to be like one of the first days that we were mining together, we found about 10 grand worth of opal, which was like really awesome. And that kind of, made us go, okay, this has actually got potential.
Yeah, let me think.
Go on.
One of those like light bulb moments. But yeah, we did really get lucky in a sense that, like dad had so much spare gear that he had enough like surplus equipment that we could get set up, just using his stuff. So it didn't cost us a lot of money. I mean, like we started out with just buying a $450 jackhammer each from a hardware store. And I mean, this year, which is like three and a half years later, we've probably got over 150 grand worth of gear, just all from, what we found and then sold sort of thing. But yeah, so I never really had any desire to be an opal miner until I started seeing that there was potential there to actually earn a living.
Good answer. And yet, did that kind of opal sickness hit you when you did pull some of that out? Like,
Oh, definitely. It's not like, it's like, you're digging and you're finding absolutely nothing but just normal rocks. Then all of a sudden you break onto rainbows and you see that coming out of the ground and you just can't believe that you've uncovered something that's, been buried there hundreds of millions of years. And, and then on top of that, the value of it as well is, what also got us, really excited at the time. When we started, I think we were about 22. So didn't really have much money, didn't really have much going on. And this was just such an awesome, different life, especially to the other two guys that I work with who'd just grown up on the coast, living a normal life. And, now we have the opportunity to treasure hunt for a living. Like, you can't really get much of a better job than treasure hunting for a living.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Yeah, that'll put a permagrin on your face. Is there an off season and an on season to that then?
Yeah, sort of. So at the moment it's I don't know what this is in your temperature system, but out there it's like 40 to 50 degrees Celsius, so it's pretty hot. Okay. So there is some people that mine during that part of the year, but it's really no good for the machinery. And it's just too uncomfortable to live. If you're living above ground, a lot of the people in the town live underground in dugouts, which are just underground houses, which are built in the old workings, and then the walls are like rendered and that sort of thing. But in the mines themselves, it's usually 14, 15 degrees Celsius. And, 22 inside our actual dugout homes. But unfortunately, the boys and I have a ragtag camp out there that's, made from like tin and wood and that sort of thing. So you can imagine it does get very, very hot at the moment. So we won't head back out there until it starts cooling down. Obviously, over here it's summer, but it won't start cooling down till about April, May sort of thing. That's when we'll head back out full time.
I did a quick look, and 50 degrees Celsius is 122 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, that's hot.
You're talking about like the heat wave of 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
That most recent video I uploaded, which is the one, afterwards you guys contacted me, just me walking around fossicking and finding some opals. I was using my GoPro that day, and every 10 minutes I had to actually go back home, put it in the fridge, and let it cool back off.
Oh, man.
It was overheating every 10 minutes, so I had to keep back and forth while I was filming that video.
You were working hard for those opals then. At least you found some pretty cool ones in that video.
It was amazing. We actually just sold one of them the other day. So one of the ones that I thought it was just potch until I cleaned it off, which was the big one that's in the thumbnail picture there, that just sold for like 1,000 like AUD sort of thing. So that was like awesome. Like, just goes to show you can find some like really amazing pieces just walking around the old part of the field, which is crazy.
Yeah, that was really cool that you included the preparation of them at the end of the video so that you could see like how awesome the opals ended up.
Yeah, well, the old timers back in the day just had no value for specimen pieces, so they just throw it all away, and a lot of it's still out there today to be found.
Wow.
Sounds like the podcast crew need to make a little field trip.
Oh, no.
Have to come over to White Cliffs and do some rockhounding.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm down.
Think
Totally.
Rookie would just let us crash at his place?
Probably. I mean, he might have to make me take a bath first, because my idea of sunscreen is like rubbing dirt on my skin.
He'll just blend right in. It's all right.
You can't find me.
Like, where's Kyle go?
He's that large rock over there. So
That rock with glasses.
yeah. Nice. All right. So Kurt, did you have a question?
Oh, yeah. I was wondering, whenever you've been out in the mines or out exploring, have you run into any crazy creatures or animals or insects or do you have any like I don't know, just cool encounters?
I mean, it is Australia, so we got all the deadly things over here. I've seen like 6 foot, 7 foot, brown snakes, king brown snakes, which if they bite you, you pretty much die quickly. We get all the spiders. We do a lot of like black lighting for the opal. So usually, when you shine your black light around there, you see the insects and bugs pretty quick. So they just light up. I'll have to show you guys a video later, but we find these centipedes down in the mine, which are about this long.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
yeah.
Like hundreds of legs. Like they're probably about that thick as well. So they're like
Oh,
absolutely
man.
massive.
Oh
And they
man.
like can like latch onto you and bite. We find those in our houses mostly.
Oh.
We
Um,
had those in Arizona. Yeah, they eat like little mice and stuff. I mean, they're crazy.
It's
Yeah.
not great, but other than that, we pretty much just see, like kangaroos, emus, which are, fine. Nothing too crazy. We do find a lot of small animal skeletons down in the mines, because obviously some of these shafts have been open for over 100 years. So sometimes you'll find really cool, perfectly intact skeletons of small lizards and snakes and that sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. But
That is
other than that, there's nothing too bad out there.
The skeletons are still a cool find.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, after the laundry list of all the things that you can kill you, there's nothing too bad out there.
No big deal.
It's just Australia.
Yeah, like the field that I'm working at, primarily in White Cliffs, that's a pretty friendly field. It's mostly retirees and hobby miners, and people that come out for a couple of weeks every now and then. So you don't really have to worry too much there. But on some of the other fields, the biggest thing you got to worry about is the other opal miners.
Comes on two legs.
It's scary on the other field sometimes.
So are those claims out there, or is this kind of like open territory?
Yeah, so it's there's usually like a mineral reserve or like an area where most people are working, and then in New South Wales, which is the state I'm in, you can peg a 50 by 50 meter claim, and then that'll allow you to have the right to basically mine there, and you just renew that every year, just like car registration. Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
That's really good. That's cool.
Who's next for the question?
I think that would be me.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, you're on top of it.
What is your most significant find in the mines, or just while hunting for opals?
So probably our most valuable lot of rough opal was probably, I think it was around 80,000 just in the rough. We don't usually sell too much rough opal, as we like to cut it all and then make it into jewelry and that sort of thing. We're probably like halfway through doing that at the moment, and like that 80,000 will turn into like 250,000, something like that. It really just depends on what we end up doing with it. If we set it in gold, then you can make a lot more, but it's like a lot more expensive, and you might have that one piece of jewelry for a few years. But for the most part, you'll easily triple your money if you cut it all and take it the whole way. Yeah,
that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
As one item or like one find sort of thing. So the rough opal, usually we'll find a few like troy ounces of that. But with the most valuable find, I guess, would probably be one of the opal pineapples, which are unique to White Cliffs. It's the only place in the world you can find them. Basically, they're like a spiky rock ball of opal. I don't have any here to show you guys, unfortunately.
That sounds so cool.
Google it, people. It's amazing.
I was gonna say, I'm googling that the moment we're done here.
That's it. I'll put through a picture for you guys later. But
Kyle's
the
Googling it.
pineapples. The most valuable one that we've found was 40,000 Australian, so that was pretty good.
Wow.
But like the most valuable that I've seen is one that was found by my dad, which was like $500,000, which was like absolutely awesome. And that one he found just going down into an old mine, and there was a bit of a pillar that had sort of eroded away, and he saw the point sticking out, and found that one there. But definitely a cool mineral specimen. There, you might have heard of like the ichorite or ichorite crystal or something like that.
Yes, yeah, I have.
Yeah, so over 100 million years ago, like there would be like a layer of ice sort of thing forming like in White Cliffs, and below that, that ichorite crystal structure would form, and then that would be replaced by calcite, and then later again replaced by opal. So it's called a double pseudomorph sort of thing.
Interesting.
Which is again, pretty different. But yeah, the only place that the conditions have ever been right for them to form has been White Cliffs. So there's only a certain number out there, probably only about 300 of them ever found, sort of thing. Yeah.
Wow.
I would have a hard time letting one go if I found it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, if it's like a $500,000, I don't know.
I don't know. Like
Cut it in half.
for me, it wouldn't be about like selling it. It's more about the unique and rarity of the piece. like the piece can be worth like $2 million. I'm like, sorry, I'm not going to sell it. Like,
Also,
Like,
Fresh
the good thing is with the pineapples is that if you find one and the conditions are right, generally they'll form in a patch. So if you find one, usually they'll be up to maybe 10 in the area.
Ooh.
Of those 10, you'd be lucky to get one that holds together and has the right color and point definition that make them valuable. But generally, you'll be able to keep some and you'll be able to, sell some for profit sort of thing. But
see,
There you go, Kyle.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
Keep
exactly.
one, sell the rest.
Just in case that ever happens. Yeah.
Just in case.
Usually this time of the year we're over at Tucson at the Gem and Mineral Show, but due to COVID, like we haven't gone for the last couple of years and just didn't make it this year. But that's where Dad takes all of his over to there and sells them there, which is crazy. Have you guys been to the Gem and Mineral Show there?
I've been wanting to
Never.
go.
I want to.
Yeah, that's been on my bucket list.
Insanity. It's insanity.
Lived in Tucson for 15 years, and I was actually planted there by my mom so that she'd have a place to stay for the Gem Show. That was my introduction to all of Arizona, was just Gem Show. So yeah, I
It's
love
insane.
it. It's
We
so
spent
good.
2 weeks there and like barely saw anything. Like I barely saw like
Right?
a fraction of it. Like,
And you close your eyes and all you can see is this like glimmery color stuff. I mean, it's just so overwhelming that it's an incredible experience.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
question, Theo.
Oh, thank you.
I guess that goes back down to me. So my question is, if you could mine or fossil anywhere in the world with money not being an issue, where would you go and what would you want to collect?
I mean, I'm like super into like anything underwater, so I'd love to do some like gold sniping. That would be really, really cool. I don't know if you guys have heard of like Pioneer Paulie, but I watch his
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Love Pioneer Polly.
videos. And I love like watching like him just going underwater and finding like gold in the crevices and that sort of thing.
So cool.
That looks really
Yeah.
cool. So I'd love to give that a go. But other than that, it'd probably be some sort of gold mining. I'm not otherwise sure like what I'd like to find. Like I don't know how they find geodes and stuff, but I'd love to find some of those. That'd be awesome. But yeah, it'd probably be gold for me.
That's a good answer. And
Yeah.
Polly, if you're watching our podcast, off chance,
Come on the podcast,
Yeah.
Polly, please.
You're racking up the list.
we can make it. We can make it 2 for 1. Twos. Bring Dan. Polly and
Yes.
Dan.
Bring Dan with you.
No, that'd be kind of cool to find a really cool nugget underwater.
That would be.
I mean, I have a gold nugget in my collection. I could just out in the water. Because I don't think we have any nuggets pretty close to where I'm at, except for up in the mountains. And even then, you have to get really lucky. But
That's something I actually really want to try doing this summer because I actually have a sluice box, but the problem with Montana is there's a lot of gold. It's just you have to have a claim. Like there's most places, even if it's public access, that still is claimed land. So if you're gonna go gold panning in Montana, you probably should make sure you get permission before doing it because chances are 98% of the time you have to own the claim to be able to work for the gold there. So I'm hoping to get a claim somewhere in the next 2 or 3 years because I have all the gold equipment and then I got more into it and looked into it more and I was like, oh man, I just missed the most important part of this whole thing.
Oh yeah, it's the
I'll be using it
legal
at some point. Well, I actually bought it because it's not that way in South Dakota. So I was doing a lot of gold panning in South Dakota because that Black Hills gold is just so vibrant. I mean, you're finding some fantastic 24 karat gold in those hills, but it's like also like a 9-hour drive, so it's not something I can do regularly. So
what gold isn't vibrant?
no, like I have to send you some pictures of
Haven't
Black
met
Hills
any
gold.
I don't like. Yeah,
It's like even more rich in color. Like it's insane.
Interesting.
Black
I'm
Hills
just
gold is
messing
nuts.
with you. Awesome.
so, Jaymin, did you have any questions before it comes back down to Karen for her? I know she has another question.
I do. What was that? Did you have
What
any
was-
questions for us?
I'd like, so what are your main like areas of focus, like each of you? Like what is the main mineral or gem that you look for sort of thing in your area?
Who wants to go first?
So, I mean, Karen is also in Oregon, and I'm in Oregon too.
Yeah.
We actually have like a large variety of minerals here in Oregon, and even more so in Washington. Um, but whenever I go out, it's just basically whatever I can find. Um, there is one area in Central Oregon where I do want to go back to get some more obsidian, specifically fire obsidian, because that's kind of my expertise.
Yeah, he's the king of fire.
I don't want to pick fights, but it almost rivals black fire opal.
I'd say they're on the same tier, at least. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Depending on the piece, though, because there are some fire obsidian pieces that are not the greatest color. But if you can get like a really bright, vibrant, like colorful one, then yeah, it's nice. But everything has its grade.
How about you, Kurt?
Well, I'm being out here in Western Colorado. Like the closest, like I mainly hunt the rivers and can come across some nice like agates and so forth. The closest like other mineral that I know where to go is green fluorite. And I haven't been back there in a while, but I have a lot of fun finding hunting the fluorite. And once the spring comes around and the weather, all the snow starts melting, I want to get out to central Colorado and hunt some smoky quartz with the Amazonite clusters
Pikes
all
Peak has
together.
been on my list.
Yes, it's been on my list for a long time. There's a lot of different minerals, kind of similar to Oregon. Like there's aquamarine and fluorites, amethyst. And also, I'd like to get out to the Utah Way Mountains and find some of that red burl. That'd be really cool to go out and find. So yeah, it's kind of like all different sorts of minerals, just like Oregon here.
Hard to nail down is the
I
answer.
know. My favorite to
Bit
hunt
of
here is
everything.
probably fluorite, but like once the weather gets warmer, I like to go out and find some of the Smokies and Amazonite.
You can do it.
I hope to.
So,
Theo, what do you
broad
do?
scope, a little bit of everything. Narrow scope, mainly our two main things would be Montana agates, which are just fantastic. Get really big moss agates, and other than that, it would be Cretaceous marine fossils. So we go out for ammonites a lot, baculites, that kind of stuff. I'll spoil one of my show and tells really quick, but one of my main favorite things to hunt for is actually ammonite, which we get a fair amount of here in Montana. It's some amazing stuff. But like less specifically, lots of jaspers, do some crystal digging. Just gem panning every now and then. Go out and find garnets a lot. Sapphires is on the list for this year. We went out and got a few 2 years ago, but yeah, I want to get a little more serious about the sapphire work this year because there are some really nice sapphires in Montana. But yeah, mainly ammonites, agates. Those are my two big ones.
I can't believe that you fit all that into that small amount of time because like Theo actually does a bit of everything, he facets and he carves and he, does the cabs. And so like, there's pretty much not a part of it from fine through finished. He jewelry makes, fabricates and that sort of thing. So there isn't a part of it that he doesn't do, which is, so I said it for you, Theo. So you didn't have to come off as a braggart or something. And that being said, my mom started me off with this whole thing, and I wasn't going to do the biz either. And like I said, she took me out to Tucson, and I was actually pretty much her roadie. Like, who doesn't want to go hang out and do that, And my grandfather would stick like a couple hundreds in my pocket as we were going to go and get yourself something nice, kid. Yeah, and I would buy opals. I'm like, no kidding. And so I kind of went into a whole nother world of business and got back into it. And so I do the same, find make the cabs, or I'm getting into faceting this year, but mostly from rough all the way, like finding the rough all the way through the finish of the jewelry, which the jewelry portion of it was kind of my front door into it. So I was making the jewelry before I was doing the back end of it from the rough. I thought that was the dirty work. So I just go buy the pretties, and it turns out to be so rewarding, as you know, Jay. Like, it's just amazing to do that.
You see it go from that rough stone to a finished product, and that's really just cool to see how it turns out.
Yeah.
And that's why I take pictures before and after, so you can
forever
check it out.
I always forget to do that.
These videos help a lot, like for the documentation, because I would just swim through piles of rough, and the only thing I'd have left was the picture of the shot that I was gonna sell the piece as. And so it's fun to actually be documenting some of this. It's good. But that's the answer to that. And I was wondering about you. So I don't think anybody found that very surprising about any of us. But what is something about you that even folks that know you might not know about you?
I mean, I'm kind of an open book, just because, we've been doing the show for so long. We pretty much just share it all out there. The thing that used to surprise people before all of this was just the fact that, I'd be over here on the coast where it's just like the, normal town sort of thing. And people would be like, oh, like, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I used to live out in the desert. I grew up underground in a cave, like living under like, wow, like, what do you mean? We were a family of like 7. So I've got 4 brothers and sisters. And I mean, like, even our nearest grocery store was like 300 kilometers away, like our nearest, big grocery store. So we'd, family night would be going out and getting a kangaroo that we'd eat, sort of thing. So like that was always the thing that shocked people, just like the harsh realities of like living out in a very isolated location. But yeah.
Wow, that's a great answer.
Yeah, it is.
You grew up with amazing adventure. I mean, you literally grew up in a cave.
22 feet underground was like my bedroom. So
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
Wow, that's crazy. Right on. Great. That's like one of my favorite answers ever. Does anyone else have a second question that can top that?
I was going to ask the second question, but Theo already asked earlier.
No way.
Oh, I did. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
I have a habit of doing that, like without knowing. I steal all of your questions a lot, and
it's
sorry.
Like a mind meld thing.
Yeah.
You're just efficient.
I have another question.
Okay, go ahead.
So I know that in the rest of the world, it's a very rare phenomenon, but in Australia, it's way more common than anywhere else. Opalized fossils. Have you guys ever found any opalized fossils while digging?
So we found like several snails, and several.
Cool.
I think you guys call them clams over there.
Yeah.
We call them like pippies here in Australia.
What do you call them?
They're called pippies.
Pippies.
I like it.
That's what they are.
I only know that because of like doing the Tucson show in America, and everyone's like, "Oh, the clams," and I was like, "What?" No.
But doesn't it sound cooler to Fossick pippies?
Yeah, I'm calling them that from now on.
It is okay.
But, so the Great Artesian Basin was like a massive inland sea that covered a lot of the areas where you find opal in Australia today. So we get all of the marine animals. The most common things are probably the shells, which do become opalized. We've never really found any decent ones ourselves. The other most common things you find are what's called belemnites, which I'm sure you guys know what belemnites are. Like the prehistoric cross between fish and cuttlefish. Or cuttlefish and squid or whatever it is. But we find a lot of those opalized. They look really nice sometimes if they've got opal going all the way through. Dog sharks, small fish, and then sometimes even like dinosaurs or prehistoric reptiles like plesiosaurs.
Yes.
So a couple of those have been found. One was found in White Cliffs probably 10 years ago that was
Wow.
quite a good specimen, valued over like, $12 million sort of thing. So that was
Wow.
pretty cool. Cooper Pedy, which is another one of the big opal places in Australia. They find a lot of the same stuff as us. Lightning Ridge, which is probably one of the most well-known opal fields in Australia. They find more estuary sort of like fish and mammals and stuff. Like they'll find yabby buttons and pine cones and that sort of thing that have become opalized and replaced.
Wow.
But yeah, they do find a lot of different
So
fossils.
cool.
I want a pine cone.
It's so
like
cool.
a mini opal pine cone thing that's just in place. But yeah, again, like with my field in White Cliffs, that was the first commercial opal field in the world. So that was a little bit unique. And most of the work that was done like over 100 years ago, where they had like 5,000 people in the town. Today they've only got 100. And all the old timers that were finding all the fossils and specimens, they just cut them up for the opal or throw them away. So unfortunately, a lot of that stuff was lost because back then they just had no value for mineral specimens or fossils, which is, why you can find some today. But for the most part, a lot of the really cool stuff they found, has been lost, unfortunately.
Oh, that is a bummer.
That is.
That breaks
Like
my heart.
I've seen people, tourists come out to our field, do some fossicking and find like, $1,000 snails or belemnites just on the field. We also get a lot of wood as well. So the wood becomes, petrified or fossilized or, when it turns to
Mineralized.
stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then those get opal seeping in through all the cracks and stuff in the wood that's turned to stone. And like that looks really cool as a specimen piece as well.
That is so cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Australia sounds so amazing.
I know. It's
I know.
been the top of my bucket list forever.
I can handle the dangerous animals. It's the heat that I would not
Yes.
like very much.
I think
good
I
with
could
that.
handle it. I think I could do the heat. We had similar. I think the hottest I've lived growing up in Texas. I think the hottest it's gotten that I've experienced is like 120. But that was like way too hot. And now I can barely handle 80 degrees.
I was going to ask, do you have anything that in your collection that you have found that you will not sell for anything?
At this stage, like when we started, as I said, we were 22. I'm 25 now, and it's just always been a mission to kind of upgrade, scale our business, get the next piece of equipment that we need, and just to survive. So everything has just been like we've got to sell it, sort of thing. So we've not really found anything that we've been super attached to. It's more for us, like, I know for you guys, it's all about, like the specimens and the pieces, but for us, it's the business and the lifestyle and, eventually getting to the point where we can the more equipment and machinery we have, the better chance of finding like even more incredible things kind of come up. So for us, it's more about collecting the machinery rather than so that we can find more of the other sort of thing. But yeah, for us, it's, there's not too much. I mean, like we have a couple of pieces that we just haven't sold yet, just because we haven't like put a price on them or something like that, or it's just been a cool story. But yeah, we're not really, really attached to anything ourselves.
Is there anything that's not opal related that you have that you won't sell?
Not really. I mean, we just everything we have is just machinery. So I mean, some of the machinery, it's just so hard to come by because it's all purpose built for opal mining, and really the golden age of opal mining is, sort of nearing its end, and it's just harder to get that machinery like custom manufactured. So you've got to buy older gear, and once you have that, it's you don't want to sell it, sort of thing, because it's too hard to get again. Which is like the big drills that are specifically made for prospecting for the opal, or like the underground diggers, as you said before. It's the machine that we kind of have underground that's pins to the roof and works as like a hydraulic arm sort of thing. But yeah.
It's still really cool, and it kind of goes to show that even outside of mining, there's a lot of Rockhound people that will find stuff to either work it so they can sell it, so they can actually upgrade their equipment, because we all have to start somewhere. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can respect that.
Like my father, like he definitely has, some of his specimens, and again, like some of the pineapples. He's got probably the biggest collection in the world. As his like area where he's mining, he found was one of the better areas and pegged 9 claims just to kind of lock down that area, and then found all the really good ones. He's definitely got some that, you know, he will never sell, sort of thing. But for us, where we're at the moment in our lives and our business, you know, it's all for sale.
Go buy his opals.
I'll do it.
Did anyone else have any other questions?
Really quick, you were just talking about that the claw that holds up the ceiling and everything. I was watching that incident where you guys were in that super old mine and you were trying to find a ceiling that wouldn't move while you were trying to brace the so what's the scariest thing that's happened?
So I mean, like that is pretty sketchy. So what happened there was that because we're working in an area of the old part of the field where it has been so dug out by old timers, there was just tunnels above like where we were working. So about 1.5 feet above us, you've just got a tunnel there, and we're under here pressing up with our hydraulic ram into that roof, and we just see that roof, you know, just flex up. And obviously that's pretty scary because that's when things, you know, come down on top of you. But for the most part, like we've really, been on top of our, you know, safety game for the most part. In relation to like the mine collapses and stuff, you just always got to be watching. And we get my father down, you know, every couple of weeks just to check it out and make sure that, you know, he reckons it looks good because obviously he's been doing it his whole life. And that stuff's important too. And just safe procedures sort of thing.
Oh, that's golden that your dad's on for, you know, having a look and making sure that you guys are good.
Yeah, I mean, like the biggest injury we've had while out on the Opal fields was just recently, which is JC, one of the other guys. He broke his leg, but that was from bull riding. That wasn't from mine.
That somehow doesn't surprise me, though.
We had a local rodeo, and he signed up to ride. It wasn't even a bull; it was a steer.
Oh.
And he lasted, I think, like 4 seconds or 3.5 seconds or something like that. And of course, we had the film crew there, you know, filming it all. So, Discovery Channel forever now.
Epic.
Nice. I mean, actually, that might be a good question. What's it like having a documentary, like being on a TV show?
It's good. It's good. I mean, it's like anything. It has like good parts and it has bad parts. The guys that we work with are absolutely fantastic. You know, we usually grab beers with them after we finish filming, and just generally have a good time. It does take a while for us to film, and it does slow us down from working, as you can imagine. You know, you guys make your own content and stuff. You know how much work goes into just getting the right shots and that sort of thing. So that can be frustrating. You know, when we find something awesome, we just want to dig it out straight away. And sometimes we have to slow down, hold up, and, you know, let the film crew do their thing. But for the most part, like it's been a fantastic experience, and they've taught us a lot. I wouldn't be able to do our YouTube. I wouldn't have had any idea how to create our own content if I hadn't spent years watching them with their cameras and what they do, and, you know, like all of that. So that definitely taught me a lot in that sense. But for the most part, like they're really great guys to work with, and the production company is awesome. And it's been a really positive experience.
That's actually very smart to be able to observe how they're doing their stuff, so you can actually apply it to what you want to do down the road. So
yeah, absolutely.
Not a lot of people do that. Like they just kind of like they're there for the video footage and then that's it. But no, that's smart to just observe and learn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when they come out, generally they'll come out for a couple of weeks at a time. So we're just, you know, always all together, and they're always rolling the cameras. So yeah. End up spending a lot of time just seeing what they're doing, which is really
nice.
Oh, that is super cool.
Well, how about we do some show and tell?
Yes. I've been waiting all night for this. Can't wait to see Jay's stuff.
Karen's like, stop asking questions. You want to see?
Need to see some opals.
Sure thing. So, when we first find the opal, you know, you'll just have like a little rough, I don't know how well you'll see that, but just a nice big chunk of opal. This piece here, Noah actually found in some backfill. So he found that while we were just shifting some loose dirt, And it's probably like a $7,000-8,000 stone, which was absolutely ridiculous.
Wow.
He
Oh,
came
man.
down with like the biggest smile on his face.
Right.
Yeah, so this one here is probably like one of the only things we haven't sold, and that's purely because we're using it in like a tour that we do, which is like a bit of a fossicking or black lighting tour and a cutting demonstration out at Wycliffe's, and I like to be able to show that bit just to explain what rough opal looks like. This is some more rough opal here, just in the jar. All of this stuff is from that big find that I'm working my way like cutting through at the moment. So that's still going to take a fair while to do, but like that'll be well worth it when it's done. So we've got like cut stones here. So just some opals that have finally been shaped. These are just made into solids. The other way you can go is like triplets or doublets. So triplets have a backing, a thin piece of opal, and then a cap over the top. I don't really make triplets, but I do make a lot of doublets. And first thing we'll do is we'll slice black potch or obsidian. Sometimes we'll use obsidian, and that'll be the backing for it. And then we'll glue our opal to these, and then each one we'll use our trim saw to then cut out. And then we'll finally polish like each different one into a stone. And these are all ones I'm working on at the moment. So all of those will then get set into rings, and then we'll just sell those on like our Etsy store and, eBay, and then directly to our Instagram followers and that sort of thing. But yeah, that's what I've been up to in the last week or so. That's why I've kind of got these here. Usually I don't have this big example of different things we've got on and on holidays, but also, cutting rings.
So who
Awesome.
taught you how to do lapidary work?
So it was mostly just self-taught. Dad had his like cutting set up and he knew how to cut. But he kind of just said, just give it a go, figure it out yourself. And that was kind of it. So, I mean, I had a couple of his stones sitting there, so I knew what it had to look like. And, he said like, okay, this machine does this one does this, but you just like, play around with it and figure it out. So I'd do a little bit of work on that. And then I'd take him mine and just say, hey, like, what do you reckon of this? And say, oh, maybe like start doming in a bit more, or, just random little bits of feedback. But for the most part, it was just, self-taught, like just figure it out yourself. Like that's the best way to learn. Everyone has their own tricks when it comes to cutting. And I think the easiest way to learn, and probably the best advice for anyone that wants to learn, is just start on color. Don't start by using potch or, opal that has no color. Start on the expensive stuff. You'll learn much quicker.
You'll learn real quick.
If you don't have a heart
Real
attack.
quick.
Yeah, every time you touch that opal to the wheel, you're losing money. So you've really got to pay attention and just, make sure every single step you're just, doing it well.
See, I've always told people that if they want to learn how to do work on fire obsidian, I'm like, work on a sheened obsidian first. That we can practice, because once that color is gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
Because those layers are super thin, like super thin. Yeah, that's good to know. That's it's really cool that you learned how to teach yourself and by trial and error.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun just figuring out, but probably took me maybe 10 stones before I had something that was like saleable. And then of those first 10, I was able to recut them later on and make those, worth something. But for the most part, you just got to start on the good stuff. If you start with, potch and stuff, you just really, you don't really care too much. But if you've got the good stuff, you're caring about it, then, you're going to learn a lot quicker. One of the easier things I found as well is with the doublets, it's a lot easier to learn to cut doublets than it is to cut solids, because you've got that line where the potch divides like the opal sort of thing. So it works as a guide. But yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, when you're getting to the bottom of your color bar.
Yeah.
So we need an announcement. Karen, stop. Karen. Stop. But it's so pretty. You do learn though. Yeah.
Definitely.
Go slow. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your show and tell, and for that little
So cool.
that cool little
Very,
tidbit.
very beautiful.
Incredible.
Karen, you were next.
All right. Well, I brought the Baltic amber that Jarek sent me from where he hunts the amber. He's got the channel amberscape. We had him as a guest, and he talked about this piece. It's got a piece of wood in it. And actually, I need to send you a picture of this too, Kyle. And so the piece, I went like, oh, because I'm really into petrified woods and fossils and things like that. And so I was just like, wow, it's like 3 of my favorite things. It's a gem, it's a fossil stone, and it's got pet wood in it. And so, or actually it's not petrified wood, it's amberized wood.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so,
that's mummified wood.
right? It's got nothing to do with a rock. At any rate, he sent it to me, and he faced it, which means, he brought out some of the polish so that you could see into the stone and find out exactly what insects are in it. Well, there's some insects in it. I thought, it was just going to be the wood and that would be fine. And so also, it just, the first picture I've got here, we'll get to the bugs in a second, but I was enthralled with the micro world that was inside. It's just, as you're going through with a magnifying device, I had this under the microscope at about 40x, and there were whole worlds, these forests with fungi and lichen and all these things growing off of the wood, just like a coral reef in a lagoon, because it's all suspended like it's in water. And so that's my first picture. I wish I could send you more. There's going to be a video on it, but that's like at least a small eyeful of because I'm just swimming around. You get to be small, like Dr. Shrinker, and you get to swim around in there if you've got your eyes on it in a microscope. The next one is I just love this dude. He looks like he's just kicking back in like this amber sun, just floating through a cosmic honey spacescape or something like that, like he's on an album cover. And so he's I can't remember exactly what identifiable animal he is, but like he's kind of like and it is a bug. You can see his little eyeballs and his hard little shell there. He's kind of like a toe bug. Cool. Oh my gosh, yeah. And so it's really neat when, like your spider, Theo, when you look in a microscope and somebody's looking back out at you.
It's crazy. Oh my gosh.
And these guys are between 40 and 50 million years old. And so like that's some pretty old eyeballs looking back at you. It's crazy.
Some Visine, probably dry.
That spider caught me off guard for sure.
And so the third had me laughing out loud. I'm cruising through, and there's this yard sale of this poor insect's body, right? It's like a cricket, and you see is like the elytra and the carapace and like one thigh and a leg. And then there's this mite that's like flying over the top of him, and like the one guy's going, I'm okay, and then the other one's like, it's good, like little high five in the air or something. So probably that's indicative of me spending too many hours alone with my microscope. Scenarios are coming out. And then the fourth one is of Diptera. So this is like kind of in the family of crane flies and mosquitoes, that sort of thing. And so my little guy there, he's kind of pressed up against the edge, and so you can see the blue edge, and then the amber starts, and his eyeball, and you can see like the detail in his eyeball is so cool. On the very top. And then he's got these really long oh gosh, what are they called, the palps,
Davy Jones.
Yeah, exactly. He's got 2 of those, like in the Davy Jones locker thing, hanging down. So that's probably an identifiable feature. One of the legs is coming right out to get you, and then the wings are also kind of blurry because I didn't have a chance to stack this one in the microscope camera. You can use a stacker, and you can get like 50 shots and get like a totally clear view. This one's a different camera, and so it's only one shot, but dang, he was clear. So I had to, he was saying hey, and I had to say hey back. So That's just like, those are just a few of the pictures from this little world.
Just
It's
one
like
piece.
That's crazy.
You told that story well.
It's
something
so
out of
cool.
like, Men in Black or something. Like, here's this like whole little anyways, so thank you, Yarek. And I have like a whole handful of these, and so there's going to be a lot of videos apparently. This one should be coming out soon. And go check out Amberscape, because he knows way more than me and does like super duper videos on the Amber, and so he's the one.
Yark is awesome.
He is.
He's a cool guy.
And we need to have you back on the podcast as well.
Yeah, come back, Yark.
Yes. That's me. Kurt, how about you?
So for my show and tell, the first one is just a piece of Laguna lace that I cut into it. It was the outside of the stone was black and brown, and then when you cut into it, it's all these reds and oranges and yellows with all these laces.
Nice.
It was really beautiful. And cut a couple pieces, little slabs out of that, and then for wire wrapping, one of the things I was trying to do is I have a couple of pieces of just like tumbled Montana agates, and I was wanting to make like some glue back pieces, but like copper wrapped. So I'm not sure if y'all can see that, but it's just a piece that I wrapped and then set on top of it that I can glue to the back of it so it can hang freely. And then you can, if there's any rainbowness or irises in there, they shine without being covered up. So
I think rainbowness is the proper
Yes.
term.
Rainbowness, yeah.
For many of
Is
our
the technical term.
yes. And then this one, I know you normally make the stone first and then you make the like setting or afterwards, but I did it in reverse. So I wire wrapped this piece of copper and later I will make a stone that will slide in between here and I can wrap it all together. So this one took about 4 hours to wrap, which
that's a gorgeous wrap.
Yeah, that is.
You
a
are a
one.
magician.
it was fun.
Rap God. Still.
No, I
No.
there's some people that I follow that do raps, and it's insane how much detail. Like
it's so cool.
There's this guy like 2 hours from where I live. He wraps some like insane pieces out of silver wire, but he sells them for like $1,100 and up. And like one of them is like a gun made out of quartz, and they're pretty cool pieces. I hope to like get to that level eventually, but I doubt that in my lifetime. And then for like my last show and tell, the piece of equipment I got in, I just got in a nice big 17-pound tumbler. This is
Nice.
just the drum of it, but I plan on having I have a lot of good big projects I need a larger tumbler for. So I'll have a video coming out on Monday unboxing that tumbler, which is a forgot the name of it. It's a Extreme Tumblers Rebel 17. So it's pretty much comparable to the tumblers 15-pound tumbler. Same
Tumblers are good.
Same quality. It's a little bit cheaper and a bigger drum. So if you guys are interested, click the Kingsley North affiliate link in our description for the podcast and hook yourself up with one.
I might have to do that.
So yeah, that's my show and tell.
Thank you, Kurt. And also thank you, Karen. I don't think I thank you for your show and tell. So thank you both.
Well, thank you for the thank you.
Yeah, I'm very spacey.
No worries.
Theo, what you got?
Well, I wasn't gonna I didn't bring this with because I wasn't planning on doing this initially. But after Karen talked about all that amber, I gotta show you all the spider because it's crazy. So we'll just pretend I have a piece of amber in my hand right now, and I'll send all of you pictures after this is done so you can see what I'm referring to.
Yes,
so
do it right away.
I have one of the pieces that Yark sent me had a spider that was about like tiny, like half the size of a pinhead. And that was one of the things that I looked at under the microscope with my friend the other day, and it's insane. Like the detail on that spider
It
is
is.
just absolutely mind blowing.
So good.
So yeah, that's what you're all at home looking at right here. So now to the stuff that I actually brought with me. So you know, knowing that we were gonna have like an Opal superstar on the show, I was like, all right, what do I have in Montana that is remotely comparable? And then Ammonite is what we have that is remotely comparable. Ammonite, for those of you that don't know, is the nacre, the mother of pearl layer of an ammonite. It's slowly replaced with aragonite crystals, and it gets just amazing color. I don't have a flashlight, and I meant to bring it so that I could get.
You
this
don't
to
need a
flare for you guys.
flashlight. You don't need it. See it.
Yeah, where are
It
my
is-
sunglasses?
It's such cool stuff. So I have this one right here, which is a really nice specimen. That's like full color spectrum right there, depending on what light is hitting it. It's purple, blue, green, red. There's some orange in there. And then there's this, which is a really nice big specimen with some really nice color variation in there. If I can get it to flash for you. There we go. There's some of those
Ooh,
greens
nice.
flaring. And
That's
this
a
is a
big
great
piece.
example. Yeah, this is a nice big chunk of ammonite, but this is such a perfect example. So yeah, they're the pearl layer of an ammonite. So when you flip this one over, you can actually perfectly see that cross section from that ammonite. So when this was complete, I mean, this was a big ammonite. And I have one that's a little smaller than that I need to do some work on, but I think we're gonna have a nice big like dinner plate sized ammonite covered in ammonite like this, and I'm so excited to get that one prepped. Doing a little bit of repair on that one first, but get those kinds of colors on a full ammonite, it's gonna be so cool. Oh, I love this
That's so
stuff.
beaual.
You almost need to make like an infinity gauntlet with ammonite,
With
iris
ammonite,
agate, opal, fire obsidian. Just like have like the
right?
the one gauntlet to like pretty much rule over everything.
Pretty much.
Make a challenge.
Right.
Actually, it's not a bad idea.
Right. That really isn't a bad idea. Darn you, Kyle, for giving me this thought way too late because I already started. Anyway, though, those are my show and tells.
Well, thank you, Theo.
Bravo.
Of course.
you.
And then that comes down to me. So earlier or last week, I did some rock hounding, and I could have showed this for last week's podcast, but I didn't want to spoil it for my video. So I went out rock hounding. For those that didn't watch my video, and I was gonna go to the beach that day. I didn't. Figured I'd go out rock hounding, and I found this wall, and I was finding like little pieces of like quartz crystal like vug linings that are just like on the surface. Like, oh, look here. Decided to dig in the wall, and I found a crystal vug. I first thought it was a geode because it's pretty solid, but the more I dug into it, I realized, okay, it's more of a vug, not a geode, because it's not super thickly lined. Well, after about a week of cleaning and gluing, I reassembled it because it was in multiple pieces. But
That's cool.
Yeah, that is.
And I probably could clean a lot more and put like maybe some iron out or something to really make it pop. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna leave this alone because I had assembled it, and I looked in the container that I had washed this out in, and I found a small little crystal about this big. I looked inside. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it fits right there, and everything's like already assembled. And I'm like, oh. And it mentally was bugging me. I'm like, I really don't want to take this apart because then I have to re-glue this. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll set it aside just in case, for whatever reason. Well, I was pressure washing and to get all the still tiny spots I couldn't quite get with the pick, and it fell apart. Well, the glue came loose conveniently where I needed to get into. I'm like, okay, I'll just decided to pry it apart. Got the piece in there. It wasn't quite fitting right, so I actually had to take my Dremel and actually get in there and kind of shave off just a hair, so everything actually fit back together perfectly again. I'm like, okay, it's glued back together. I'm not touching it anymore, so I just put it on the shelf. And I did go back, so that might be either next week's video or the week after next. So that's my little teaser for in a couple weeks or next week. We'll see. I haven't fully decided. But yeah, that is my show and tell. And now we can get into words of wisdom. Jay, would you like to go first?
Sure thing. Not what wisdom I have to offer out there, but I mean, as far as like opal mining goes, it's hard to do unless you're in Australia, really. I mean, there's a couple of good fields over in America. But yeah, if you're going to come to Australia and do some opal mining, just get to one of the towns and come say hello to me. Come and say hi, and we'll show you around and, teach you how to do it. But I mean, with all types of mining, it's easiest to just find someone who's already doing it and let them show you through the ropes and that sort of thing. So yeah, but I mean, get outside, treasure hunt, find some awesome gems, whether they be opal or other things. There's treasure everywhere you can go.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Nice.
So true. Treasures. And I think that I'll just go ahead and catch the ball and keep on running. Not only a treasure when coming out of the seam or out of the wall or out of the Baltic Sea, but a treasure polished and then looking inside and finding whole nother worlds. And so once you have something, explore it, because there might be, amazing things going on with it. It's so exciting when there's a dusty rock that has a certain shape to it and it turns out to be an amylite, or the beautiful Laguna lace agate that, again, it's just a rock on the outside, and the dirty loamy soil vug that turns into a great big crystal pocket. So yeah, keep looking for those treasures, and then once you got them, keep looking. So that's just how about you, Kurt?
Well, my first thought was, if you're in Australia, don't get bit by a venomous spider or a snake.
Awesome work.
I'll just go with the flow and just say, whenever you're going out to nature, research your location first. Make sure it's not private or claim or anything of the sort. Make sure it's a place where you can go that's public. Make sure it's not like conservation land or anything of the sort. Just make sure you have permission to be there, and if not, get permission, or don't go there.
Right, yeah, and don't be like me and buy all of your equipment before learning that part.
Yes.
So for mine, I actually said this in my last video as a joke, and the more I've been thinking about it, A, is very true, and B, somehow miraculously goes so perfectly with this entire podcast. And that is, size is no indicator for quality. And I feel like with the opals, with the amylite, with the opals and amber especially, yeah, like those little gems are incredible. But the reason I said it was because in that last video, I mean, usually we find at least like 2 or 3 1 to 3 pound agates. Sometimes we'll find like the 5 or 6 pounders every now and then, but usually it's those at least like, half pound to a pound is like our normal size. Well, we didn't find any of those last time. I was finding a bunch of agates about this big, and they were all just phenomenal. And I normally wouldn't have been like looking for them in that size range, but oh my gosh, they were all just so nice. So I said, size is no indicator for quality, but thinking about it now, I'm like, man, that really actually like fits with this podcast so well.
That's perfect. It was like all of a sudden you were at the Oregon coast and you were finding our agates, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So my words of wisdom, like I didn't have one beforehand, but I had to think on the spot. But be observant, and this can go towards really any aspects of life. Like whether you're wanting to learn a new skill, watch what other people are doing, how they do it. You can always either copy how they do it, or you can tweak however they do it to fit your needs. But also when you're out rock hounding and you're looking for rocks, which means your eyes are mainly down on the ground, kind of looking around, watch for tracks and watch for poo, because you don't know what's out in the wilderness with you. I'll say that because when I was out on my last trip, I was a little lazy because like where I was at, I had to walk up like a gravel road, and it was pretty steep. I'm like, I really don't have to walk back down the same way, because the last time I did, like my legs were just killing me, my hips were killing me. I'm like, there's gotta be a better way. I'd rather track through the woods than down that road again. I'm like, I'll just cut through the woods. I get about 50 feet in, look down, saw a massive piece of poo. I'm like, I don't like that. I'm turning back around. I'm taking the road back. And I mean, I still found a different part of the woods to cut through, but still, I'm like, I didn't like how that one looked. I'm like, no, it looked very fresh. I'm like, So be observant, and that is my words of wisdom.
In your neck of the woods, that would have been either what, cat or bear? I'm guessing.
Yeah,
bear?
big cat or big floofy teddy bear.
Yeah,
That's not very nice.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, they don't hibernate around here.
No,
I always
Not in the
forget
coast
that.
range.
Yeah, we're safe this time of year.
Not us.
and
Nope, they're always around.
and I don't have a little pew to carry with me, so I was like, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But
Did not know that.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. When you feel like you're being watched, you
You
probably
normally are.
You probably are.
Yeah.
Yep. And
sketchy.
usually, like in the city or wherever, I'll have like headphones in, but like if I'm out in the woods, like I do not. I like to have complete
Awareness.
awareness of my entire surroundings, and yeah.
Yeah, I like having the dogs too, because they're like,
Dogs are
"Grr,"
nice.
yeah. Grr. Oh, something's over there. And they'll come and get me, like, hey, Karen, because I'm like, oh, there's rocks. Oh, it's
Yeah.
so pretty. Not paying attention.
They let you know real
They
quick.
totally do. Yeah.
I'm also listening to birds and everything else, because usually if birds get silent,
Oh.
that means there's issues.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know if I said anything.
You
but-
didn't.
You
You
didn't.
didn't.
Okay. My cat just like dropped from the top of the cabinet right here and scared the living crud out of me.
Nice.
Didn't know he was up there. Sorry.
So Karen, if you'd be so kind to take us out.
I will, but before that, Jay, do you have any parting words for the audience?
Just pretty much thank you to you guys for having me on the show. Like it's been awesome chatting to you. I don't really have too many other people that are interested in that other than JC and Noah sort of thing. So it's always great to meet other Rockhounds, and get out there, find some awesome treasure.
And where can folks find your treasures? Where would they go to see them?
So we've just recently started getting back into YouTube. Hopefully we'll drop some more videos soon. But yeah, you can find us on pretty much any social media platform. So we're out there, just Young Guns Opal Hunters.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, go check them out and get yourself a ring for every finger.
Yes.
You want them.
I mean, they have toe rings too. I mean, fingers and toes.
I stopped there.
right. For those days on the beach and whatnot. So yeah, opals are for everything. And that being said, come join us on the Discord if you want to hang out or have show and tell with us all through the week. If you need something in between podcasts, the link is in the description for our email, and get yourself an invite. And for all of us, thank you so much for being here today, this morning, tonight, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching. Keep
Rock on.
rocking.